It is long overdue, but we may finally, at long last, be witnessing the very last nail get hammered home into the coffin of games journalism. And the name of that nail? A level playing field. Oh no. Anything but that. Or actually, well, in fact, as we will get to in a second, it's more like a 2-to-1 advantage playing field, but that is of course nowhere near enough of a handicap to allow the average games journalist to survive in a competitive market. A market that they now find themselves to be a part of, reacting, predictably enough, with horror, shock, and confusion that they might actually have to earn their paycheck rather than simply go to adult daycare every day. As Kotaku writes here, one of the biggest networks of gaming sites revealed new plan to only pay writers per click. In other words, they will be paid based upon how much revenue they themselves bring in to the company. A radical notion, I know. As Valnet is, well, it is one of the large kind of like investment conglomerate companies that have been picking up these various media entertainment entities within gaming, news, media, various entertainment things generally, in the hopes that they will be able to monetize the brand, as it still does hold some appeal, they presume, or alternatively that they will be able to wield the whip with adequate, passionate determination to actually make those damned writers pay for themselves. A lofty and highly unrealistic ambition, as we will get to in a second, but they've gathered themselves quite the stable over the years. Screen Rant, Movie Web, Collider, CBR, Screen Awards, Thing, Game Rant, The Game, Polygon, Fextra Life, Open Critic, Dual Shocker. There's quite the stable they've got here, and no doubt about it. But the problem is, of course, that a lot of these sites, particularly the gaming ones, simply aren't profitable. They haven't been profitable for a very long time, and now therefore, to try and get them to be profitable, they've instituted a paid rate of $8 per 1,000 clicks instead of paying writers a base pay per article. Now, I would goddamn love to know what that base pay is, by the way, because I imagine it is a heck of a lot more than they could ever possibly have deserved. And okay, let me put this into a little bit of perspective for you here. So, for every 1,000 views of their article, the author will be paid $8, which might not sound like a whole lot, but this is my CPM. This is how much I get paid per 1,000 views on YouTube. $3.43. In other words, they're offering the writers at Polygon, etc., twice the going rate on YouTube. And for, shorts content, which I solely do because I've been told I'm supposed to, 0.49. I don't know why I keep doing it. Now, admittedly, it is better for live content, live streams, where the playback here per 1,000 is $18.41. Vastly better, right? But that is only because, one, the live stream content is enormously longer than anything else, on average, 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 5 or more, plus the fact that you guys are the best audience in the world, and I've begun to train you properly to like the streams, which, trust me, you do not understand how much that matters. It is a genuine and huge boost and advantage to me and to all of my content, so again, thank you very much for that. But this is obviously infinitely more content than your average 200-word AI-written Kotaku article right there, and that is also just live streams. So that $8 per 1,000? Listen, I'll fucking take it. Well, I will take that every day, all day. That is a heck of a lot better than I can ever expect to see. And yet, the games journalists respond with confusion and anger. Why confusion? I mean, you'd think there'd be, pretty obvious. The company is like, okay, you're losing us a lot of money. we're going to give you a great CPM, and bear in mind as well, the company has to earn something on this, so their CPM is going to be, I mean, either they have some amazing deals with their advertisers, or they're taking virtually no cut of this whatsoever, just to try and keep the company at least somewhat afloat. But CPM is how they earn money. But the confusion comes from right here. Valve has decided to reward their freelance authors based on the amount of traffic they generate. Traffic in this day and age? A publisher actually makes the conscious decision to use traffic as their northern star? As opposed to? It's almost impossible to express how utterly insane this is. It's quite literally the exact opposite of what publishers should do to survive and thrive. Traffic is arguably the worst KPI to focus on right now. The right metrics are derived from originality, engagement, loyalty, quality, brand awareness, etc., not traffic. This is putting the cart so far in front of the horse that the poor little animal isn't even capable of recognizing that there is a cart in its own hemisphere. Listen, originality from a gaming news website, engagement, loyalty, quality, brand awareness, all of these things exist to drive traffic, not the other way around. They are there to create traffic, but you haven't made any of those things. Originality? 9 out of 10 articles that do any kind of numbers on these websites are fucking guides. AI written and pumped out or copy-pasted from every other news site out there. Engagement? Oh my god. I've seen Polygon articles with supposedly hundreds of thousands of views with like 2 comments on them. Nobody engages with your sites. Loyalty? To Polygon? Are you insane? Quality, brand awareness. Listen, all of the brand awareness in the world has not helped you. That is precisely why Polygon is one amongst countless heads mounted on Valnet's walls. And that's the only reason you're even in existence, is because some company out there looked at your brand and thought, it's gotta be worth something, right? Which was a very stupid thing to think, frankly. Okay, let's have a little bit of a look at reality here, right? So, Polygon, here we go. Polygon organic search traffic per month, 7.1 million views. That's 7.1 million visits to their site in a month. Which sounds optimistic from what I've seen of Polygon, but considering the sheer number of articles they pump out, probably right. Out of those 7.1 million, 78.13% leave after having read one article. In other words, they go there to see one specific thing, like a guide, for example, and after they've seen that, they're gone. They have no further interest in Polygon or its website or its coverage or anything else, as literally, this is where the majority of their traffic come from. Somebody being stuck on a puzzle, typing that into Google, and then clicking the topmost result. But okay, 7.1 million views. Now that's, they claim, traffic value of 306,000 right there. That is a very interesting number, isn't it? So, Polygon has around about 100 employees. Yeah. 100 people work at Polygon. So, 7.1 million views per month. That's pretty good for a single-man channel status. My channel, for example, here at the ArchCast, I pull in roughly about 800 to 1 million views per month, circa-ish. That's a one-man operation. So 100 games journalists are required to make a number 7 times that. Right there. Let's then take that CPM of 8. So we have, 7.1 million views? Okay. So we cut that into thousands, and then 8s, which gives us something along the lines of $56,800, right? By cutting in 1,000 and multiplying with the 8s, right? So, if that is what we assume is the monetized value of that actual traffic, then that would mean that $56,800 divided by 100 people is about $568 a pop. And That's assuming, again, that they actually get that revenue. So that's $568 per person working at Polygon on a monthly basis with 7.1 million views in traffic. Which I see, what's the peak here? 755,776,71. So they're not even clearing $600 per person. Now, obviously, we must assume that the CPM for the company has got to be higher than this. Otherwise, holy hell, the size of the black hole of money. But even if we say it's double that, that means that this website will be pulling in somewhere along the lines of $100,000, per month, which they will lose then half of it on just staff costs alone. Then you of course need to then detract, money. You need to do money. I'm an idiot. Taxes. You need to detract day-to-day running cost. You need to detract the cost of the people overseeing it, CEOs, etc., all of that, and then you need to get rid of all of the other various costs like computer equipment, and depending on how many freelancers they've got, maybe they don't need to do that. But even then, if we double their CPM, which is unlikely, they're looking at $50,000 before any other expenses a month from a website that gains 7.1 million views. And that is being extraordinarily optimistic. It's just not worth it. Like this total traffic value here is an absurd exaggeration of the actual monetary value of a company like this, employing this many people and operating in an area where they already have countless advantages of, one, a very long pedigree, two, having 100 employees working for you, three, having been given beneficial treatment by Google and the various search engines for decades. Not to mention the audience that you did build up over the years where you weren't all absurdly insane idiots. It's still going to go to waste. And again, even that estimate is ridiculously over-optimistic. So, when we get back to this, focusing on traffic encourages habit that Google and other algorithm platforms have been working very hard to eradicate. Clickbait, journalism, low-effort content, it will lead to a race to the bottom for balanced publications. Now, this is actually a decent concern, right? Okay, so to play the devil's advocate here, should games journalist sites be focusing on quality over traffic? Of course. Is that likely? No. Has that ship sailed? Yes. Oh boy, yes. The only reason these websites even manage to get the traffic they're currently getting is, one, due to the sheer amount of content they're capable of churning out, and two, the fact that they're still being given privileged access to a great deal of people within the games industry. Entertainment executives, spokespeople, demos, early access to video games, reviews, and so on and so on. All of these artificial advantages, by the way, which are drying up every single day, as more and more companies realize that they don't need the mainstream media to spread news of their game. In fact, approaching one of these companies can quite easily backfire if one of their developers manage to say something wrong, or even worse, get everybody else pissed off outside of these gaming websites, the actually normal people. Doing your own marketing via YouTube, your own events, your publishers, etc., will 9 times out of 10 be significantly more successful and, importantly, virtually completely risk-free. So, race to the bottom? You're already in the race to the bottom. In fact, you can see the ground right now, and the ground is called an $8 per CPM. And again, if they were actually getting the views they wanted out of this, that would not be at all a big deal, not a problem in the slightest. Let's say, for example, right, that you're getting 8 CPM and you get like a 30,000 view article. That's $240 right in your pocket, right there on a one article. Uno article for 30,000 views, which on a website that presumably, supposedly, gets 7.1 million views a month? should be fucking facile, right? And in reality, if you can simply just produce better content than the other 100 people, the piece of the pie that is yours should be significantly greater. And if indeed there is a theoretical audience out there just thirsting for quality mainstream gaming journalism, the sky's the limit, one would think, as you are on a platform with a captive audience, quote unquote, with easy access to a great CPM. If anything, they should be cheering, but the very fact that they're not indicates that they're not getting those views. And this is what you should really take away from all of this. The overwhelming fear in the industry about this, and by the way, Valnet's rather aggressive response too, by the way, threatening legal action against Kotaku if they didn't clarify one of their errors, which I do think was rather amusing, indicates just how little traffic they're actually getting. That 7.1 million figure is probably near complete bullshit, based largely on impressions. In other words, how many people might see a link to the website rather than those actually utilizing it effectively, and even more so those people using it without things like ad blockers on, which completely cock-blocks their ability to actually monetize those views, of course. The mainstream gaming journalism scene has been in decline for a very long time now. God, 20 years or something? I mean, I remember Total Biscuit still being alive when this all nonsense started, and him having a whole thunderous speech about how gamers will remember the people who actively betrayed them, the people who were supposed to be on their side, and, well, I guess that betrayal is finally being revenged right now. And I, for one, can't wait to see it. And hey, again, if this incentive that will earn you money back, God, as well, like again, how much must they have been paid on a per article basis to think that $8 per 1,000 is a bad deal? Or how little views they must be getting. Who knows, but it must be dire times, and at the end of the day, the only thing keeping these companies afloat is sheer volume, as I guarantee you some of these are probably a lot more, like that for example, successful than the others, and are simply keeping them afloat as a tax write-off. But even that's gonna have some limits. You would think, though, again, that's a song and dance I've been repeating ad infinitum for quite a few years myself as well, repeating that they surely must be circling the drain by now. Listen, you can't blame a guy for being optimistic, now can you? Even if I agree history has largely proven that optimism is the incorrect emotion to encourage in this day and age. Still, I welcome my new competition in this field and wish them the best of luck. Until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a very good day.